Another 4-2-3-1 for you, but this one's meta. I don't know what that means, but this one is called the 4-2-3-1 meta. As you can see, a somewhat standard 4-2-3-1 lineup. You do have a trequartista in there, but we'll take a look at the tactic at the end of the video like usual. We are going to see first how our teams of Liverpool and Aston Villa in the Premier League do, and then later on Ipswich Town in the Championship. But as you can see, Liverpool coming in first, 91 points, doing a fantastic job, 112 goals. That is insane compared to all the way down. I mean, I'm not seeing anyone except maybe 81 for Man City. So a huge goal output right there. 33 against, 79 goal differential is fantastic. Aston Villa in 10th place, though, unfortunately not the greatest. Only 54 points, 68 goals, and 56 against. Not the greatest there. But Liverpool's cup runs don't go all that well, at least as far as they want. EFL Cup quarterfinals against Brentford, you're out 0-1, and FA Cup semifinals against Aston Villa. At least Aston Villa gets to a final. And 3-5 too, that's a big one. Liverpool do get to a final against Atalanta, but unfortunately 2-5. You get blown away in the Europa League. So Premier League you win, runners-up in the Europa League, but out against Aston Villa in the semis in the FA Cup and quarters against Brentford in the Carabao Cup. That's funny, quarters, semis, final, and then you get the final. You actually win a trophy there. Squad-wise, you can see 26 goals for Salah, 26 for Nunez, doing very well, both of them, and then a couple of 20s with Diaz and McAllister. Assist-wise, 23 for Salah. Salah having a fantastic season as usual. Average rating 7.37 for Szoboszlai and Salah. Well done. Aston Villa out immediately in the third round against Wolves of the EFL Cup. And like we saw, they do get to the cup final of the FA Cup, but unfortunately 1-2 loss to Man City. Unfortunately, no trophies for Aston Villa this time around. Bayer Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso's team, kicking them out in the semifinals, 0-0 and 1-4. So overall, not the greatest of seasons. We've definitely seen 4-2-3-1s that have worked better. 10th place in the Premier League, knocked out in the semis in the Europa Conference League. FA Cup, you got to the final, but Man City is just the last stopping point for you. And then Carabao Cup is definitely one to forget. And as we look at Aston Villa's squad, 25 goals for Ollie Watkins is the tops right there. 17 assists for Douglas Luiz, and then average rating 7.35 for Luiz. One thing that someone who tested this tactic as well had said about the tactic itself is the sheer number. They wanted to point out the sheer number of shots per game is just through the roof, and they did a fantastic job there. We didn't do nearly as well as some of the others that have been there, that have tested the tactic as well, that are on the page. Check out the link in the description below for that. But we still did very well. Liverpool doing a fantastic attacking job, and then defensively through the roof. Aston Villa, still, I mean, you're getting numbers above the Premier League average. You'd definitely like them higher. I mean, 10th place, though. That's where you end up. And as we look to the stats themselves, most goals, Liverpool with 112, like we said, 68 only for Aston Villa, but that still brings you into 4th. Fewest shots against, Liverpool in 5th. Possession in 5th for Liverpool. Dribbles made, Aston Villa all the way down in 8th. Most tackles won, not there. Best pass completion, not there. But most shots for it, 7-11 for Liverpool. And as we switch over to our championship side of Ipswich Town, you can see, unfortunately, they end up in 11th place. So right pretty much where they belong, at least at the start of FM24. But 87 goals, that's actually not too bad. 69 points, though. I mean, you're not too far off some of the higher ends, but you still need a bit more to get into the playoff picture. Cup-wise, out immediately in the EFL Cup first round against Bristol Rovers, and then out in the 4th round of the FA Cup against Aston Villa. Squad-wise, probably pretty average. 27 goals for Hurst is still a pretty nice tally. 13 for Connor Chaplin. 8 assists is all that there is. That's the tops for both Taylor and Chaplin. Nobody in the double digits. And then 706 for Jack Taylor. Hannibal is coming in on loan, though, with 704. And as we look at the championship stats, you can see Ipswich Town tied for 5th with 87 goals. I mean, they're at least in there. 5th for fewest shots against. Most possession in there was 6th. No dribbles made, no tackles won, no best pass completion, but most shots for 2nd. They just needed a couple more that actually hit the back of the net, and they could have done a little bit better. So now is when we look at the tactic itself. You can see it starts with a sweeper keeper in support, wingbacks on the left and right in automatic, ball-playing defenders in the central spots, box to box on the midfield line next to a ball-winning midfielder, both in support, inside forwards on both sides in support, a trequartista like I mentioned earlier in attack, and then an advanced forward in attack up front. Positive mentality, in possession, attacking width is fairly wide, approach play is play out of defense, Passing directness is shorter, tempo is slightly higher, mixed crosses, and be more expressive. In transition, counter press, counter, distribute to the entire back line, and then take short kicks. And then out of possession, a high press line of engagement, a higher defensive line, trigger press more often, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Overall, it didn't work for our lower level teams. Ipswich Town in 11th place, not the greatest. And if you look at kind of the Liverpool and Aston Villa side, Aston Villa in 10th, where they at the beginning of FM24, that's where they say they belong. But Liverpool topping the list, 91 points. It's the one team that did really well in this. But I think we still looked at better 4-2-3-1s. I'm not saying it's a bad tactic. I'm just saying it didn't work for our three teams. There's plenty of info on the page that it says it worked wonderfully for Bayern, Southampton, Galatasaray, Man United. It worked for a lot of different players. In this save, it just didn't for me. But I am Stefan FM for the Football Manager blog channel saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.